Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and yes, you guessed it, because of this, it's jelly plate play time again. I'm excited about today. Okay, today is all about, actually let me just start building some backgrounds while we're talking. So I think we're going to stay, as I said, relatively light. I'm going to put stuff directly on the plate just to build the backgrounds, and then we'll work from there because I have the smaller one, as you know, which is where I use this as a palette a lot of the time. So I'm going to come in, I want a sort of mixture of yellow. I'm going to try and stay, I did it again, didn't I? I shook it, but it didn't actually work out. Oh, forgot to set the timer. Okay, so we've got an hour as a guide, because we know Ceri can't always keep within an hour when it comes to jelly plating, because I can be very much, oh, look, squirrel. And there I am gone. Let's see, I'm going to put a bit of this colour in there as well. Just, oh, big paint goober. And that's that one gone. A little bit of that and a little bit of that. I don't want it dominant. So anyway, what are we doing today? I'm just going to brayer this and pull a print off just because I want to get some backgrounds on the go. Today is going to be all about found items. Now, what I tried to do is you can use any solid, some not so solid objects to make impressions or marks from when you're jelly plate printing, and literally there are millions. That it's hard to find something you couldn't use as a mark making thing. So what I did is I looked around my craft room and pulled out a few obvious things that weren't craft items. I believe they're just things that are in my craft room. I then went down and made myself a cup of coffee, and I was having a cup of coffee. I looked out the door at the garbage bin and thought, right, sorry, rubbish bin, I'm in Britain, not America anymore. And I thought, right, there's got to be something in there. So without getting too deep into my trash can, I did pull a few things out of the trash, went, right, we can use those. They go, oh, I like the way it pulled off the stuff from the previous work we've done. So that's one done. Right, we're in this colour, so let's put some of this. Now, I did say not to use dark colours, and I'm staying with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put some white onto here as well. Actually, I might put some pink onto there. Last night I condensed a few of my colours together. Like, if I've got a bottle like this that holds pink, and I've got a few other bottles that are running low on pink, I will just put them all into the same bottle. I don't care that they're all the same brand or not the same brand or whatever you wish to call it. I'm not sponsored, I'm not supplied, I'm not promoting any particular brand of paint or ink or anything you want to use. So I have the freedom to be able to do exactly what I want with what I want. Now, if I'm doing a specific project for a design team or something, I would obviously tell you what I'm doing, and I would tell you exactly what products I'm using for that one, because it will be a product related video. We're nearly brayered right over the top of my spare sheets, so let's put that down there. So anyway, so we're going to use found objects, and what I'm going to do is I want to get these backgrounds done to be drying, and then I'll show some of them to you. But to be honest with you, I don't want this whole video to end up being a show and tell. I'm just going to grab stuff and use it and explain where it comes from and what it is and how it works as we go along. Okay, that's interesting, quite liking that. Some of these backgrounds, by the way, when I do them, I'm going to put a bit of cadmium on here, and because I know it's a thicker viscosity, I'm going to do it onto my 5x7 over here. Hopefully you can see that. Just had a look through my screen. I think you can see it. So now I believe this is a semi-transparent paint, acrylic. So you'll see a lot of the white background come through this, which will give this background a bit of a vibrancy, which is nice, because I tried, as I think I've said before, I tried to find semi-transparent or transparent acrylic paints to use, but I can't always find them, and not all colours come as those options. So anyway, it's something I do like to use because I like the fact that I can see through the layers to the layers below. So when I'm talking about found items, we're talking about everything from children's toys to wallpaper to packaging to kitchen foil to plastic or cling film wrap to bubble wrap to some unusual items you're probably not going to expect me to reach for. Just anything like that, really. And I find that so exciting that I can make unique pieces of art. I would if this would come off. That was a very sticky one. Oh, that's pretty flipping impressive. I've even got some of the stenciling from the other day on here. Ooh, loving that. That was coming on really well. Right, I seem to be going for oranges and reds, so let's dip into the green regime because I like a bit of green. I don't know what it is about green, but I find green quite a calming colour. And yes, it is. It's obviously the nature theme and all of that. This is a bit liquid. Let's try and put a bit of darker. I always tend to go really, I tend to reach for this bottle, which we know is like a mixture of other colours, but predominantly like lime colours and yellowy greens. So I try and avoid that one a little bit more because I tend to use it all the time. And if I know me, it's going to be the one that runs out first, and then I'm going to mourn the loss of it. And then, unfortunately, I'm going to have to buy more. That's not a problem. I actually went to my art supply store about 2 days ago, just planning to pick up white acrylic because I was running out of it. Yeah, I left the store £30 later and about 7 new colours. So I was like, yeah, don't let me go into an art store, will you? Because it's just dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. Let's clean that off and take a little bit of that off there and run it down there. Yeah, me and art supplies. It's a bit like me in a stationery store. I can't walk past a stationery store. It's a sad turn of events, and I certainly can't walk past a bargain bin that's got paper, card, or Avery labels. Is the other one I always find in the discount aisle or clearance aisle. I just can't help it. It's an addiction, people. It's an addiction. Sorry, I appear to have a slight glitch in my iPad at that point and everything was flashing, so I'm not sure where I filmed up to, but anyway, I will try and do it again. But this is a really block colour, like I was stating earlier on. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my iPad then. All of a sudden it was flashing all over the place, so not sure how much I've actually captured. And then I think I'm actually going to come in here and do a really lightish colour on here. This is a sort of mushroomy colour. Let's see how that one looks. Just to clean the plate off a bit, just onto our last sheet, let's just get something quite light in the background. Yeah, I was curious. I've never seen my iPad do that before. Mind you, as I've said, and I've said it in 1,000 videos before, I need a new iPad. I don't know, I think the whole thing is I'm just nervous of changing technology over because they go, oh, it's really easy. You just bring it into the store, we mirror this to this, and it's all ready to go. Yes, that's every other person on the planet except me. Because when I do it, they go, oh, I've never seen that happen before. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't, because it's me. So, anyway, away from my IT issues, and let's get this sucker picked up. So, anyway, so I'm excited now. What I'm going to do is, I think I'd put in the thumbnail that this is called addition and subtraction, because I couldn't work out what to actually, how to actually describe this. So, if you think of adding and taking away when it comes to paint, that's interesting. That's quite grounding. Okay, I'm okay with that. That's kind of what we're going to be doing with the items we're going to be using. So we've got our backgrounds on the go. Just cleaning off my palette over here, just because I don't need all of that on there. So that's probably one of the quickest ways to just lift it off and out of there. Actually, if I did this side, I'd probably pick it up. There you go, that's enough off there. So let's pull up the very first one and think about what we want to do. Let's actually go with the very first one, which is this one. Now, when I say adding and subtracting with this, if I was to, let's see what I've got. Okay, if I use this cup, if this plate is covered with acrylic paint, and I put this down and lift it off, I'm subtracting the paint from the jelly plate. If I then take that paint and press onto here, I'm then adding to this one. So that's what I mean. I'm taking it away and adding it. Or I can just take it away and keep wiping this, because if I do this all over the plate, all I'm doing is taking the paint from here to here to here. So that one would be a clean circle, that would be a muddy circle, this one probably wouldn't even show up. Okay, so just be aware that that's the kind of stuff we're going to be doing. Also, I'm going to have to try and work with two things on the go at the same time, because whatever is on here will get printed onto one of our other backgrounds, and anything I take off I may add to this. So it's going to be a bit tricky. I'm going to be leaning over you. Actually, no, I'm going to put this on the table over on my right, which is a small table over here. And I will show that to you as soon as there's anything on it. So, right, what colour do we want? So this is a really nice sort of colour. I want something that's, we're not in the foreground yet, so I want something that's a little darker, but not so dark that it knocks your socks off. I don't want to go black. That almost, actually, see if I can put something, and get a yellow onto here. That's not quite a punchy enough yellow, actually. That's probably more of a yellow. Now, oh, actually, what if I put a green? Talk about indecisive, Griffiths. Actually, let's do a bit of green on there. Right, okay, these paints by Darren Reevely are quite liquid, okay? That means that they are going to take a little bit longer to dry. However, they are liquid, and what that means is you will end up with a thinner coat on your gel plate. So that means that it will, depending on your climate, want to dry out quicker on the gel plate. So there's a couple of things you need to be aware of here. I'm putting on a thicker coat than I would normally put on, and I'm doing that purely because of the video, because it means I've got more working time. Normally I wouldn't put this much on here. This is way more than I would normally put on, but I want to be able to show you several items before I do the final pull. So right, I like to get a nice even coating. I've no idea what these marks are. I've got a feeling there must have been something on my gel plate at one point that has almost created like an oil barrier. That's the only thing I can think of. Right, so you saw me pull out the cup. So this is just a regular beaker that I think we had our toothbrushes in. So I've taken that and I'm literally coming over and I'm pulling off the odd bit of paint. Now I didn't press that down hard enough. I tend to press and twist. Something you need to be aware of too is do not ever use anything metal or sharp on your jelly plate. Purely because if you damage your jelly plate, you've damaged your jelly plate. There's no repairing the jelly plate, or at least not to my knowledge anyway. So I've taken a few of those off. Now, if I wasn't stamping that onto something else, after every time I did that, I would actually take something like kitchen towel or a damp cloth or something and wipe it off, because every time I lift paint off, the paint stays here. So if I print it somewhere else, it'll put the paint back on here. So that was one. And don't forget, there's always a bottom to everything. So again, that's another size circle I can just pull off. And as you can hear by the clicking in the background, I am stamping that onto that other piece of background that we showed earlier on. So again, I'm just going to clean that off, because if I put my counter paint on, I'm going to have paint all over it. So a quick look at what we've got on the go here. So you can see I've just stamped on here stuff. Now, have I got another background here that would take green? I think this one might take green nicely because there's already green on it. So what else can I grab? Right, you've seen me use bubble wrap before. This is a big bubble wrap. Now I've used this several times, which means at some point some of this paint might start flaking off and going into whatever I stamp onto. This is just packaging. It came with whatever it came with. So I'm just going to put some of this on this piece. That's nice. That's what I'm looking for. I tend to work on more than one background at a time when I'm doing this sort of technique, purely because otherwise I have all of this paint on the go and I have nowhere to put it. So this is what I've done on this one. As you can see, I'm trying to find something that I want to put this onto and I can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brayer this across, just because, as I said, I've got more than enough paint on here, and I'm going to pull this off onto a bit of tissue, and then I've got a tissue background is what I'm looking for, if I can find a bit of tissue paper. This actually I think came in Etsy, an Etsy order, so it's just basically, oh, it's a huge sheet. Okay, we've maybe working our way around this. So I'm just going to put this down, just give it a bit of a wipe. I don't mind if all the green comes off or if it doesn't come off. I don't mind some in the background. There you go, because that in itself is a whole nother texture. Right. See, I don't mind that because that will probably come up and look a little bit like peeled paint. Let's pull in the green one. Right. Normally I wouldn't do green onto, what's the opposite? I wouldn't normally do blue onto green, but actually I quite like the thought of putting blue onto that green. So I'm going to use something that's sort of a mid-blue, this blue, and I'm going to come in again. I don't mind this on the plate, that's fine. I'm going to put less on here now because you've seen what I'm doing. I don't need to explain so much and have so much paint on there. And also I can use that on maybe one of my other pieces. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to give myself a thinner coat on here. And what I want to do this time is I want to take stuff away from this, but then do a pull onto this one. So I will lift whatever is on here off. So other things to look out for. Lids of tins, especially square or rectangle ones, because what happens is we all reach for round tin lids, and I think that using square or rectangle gives me something really interesting. Now it's not stamping off overly well on my background sheet over there, but that's actually fine with me because this is the one I'm creating at the moment. And it's probably not stamping as well because what have I done? I put less paint on my mat. So I'm constructing my piece of art here. I think that's enough of that. Again, give this a little bit of a wipe. I don't want to stick the lid back on the tin and find that I've glued myself to it. Something else I use is these plastic doilies or plastic table coverings you find in inexpensive stores. I use them when I do coffee dyeing, but they work wonderful on here too. So if you put them on, pat them down, try not to rub them too much because they might slide around. And then when you take them off, you end up with stuff like this. So that to me is a really nice bit of detailing coming on there. Now all of this time I'm doing this, the paint is drying. And as the paint is drying, which is quite nice that it's drying, it wants to lift off even less. And that's a good thing, because what that means is when I do the pull, some of it will stay on the plate. Okay, something else I had is I went to the dollar store, or pound store in the UK, and found this. This was literally £1. And it's an ice cube tray. And there you go. It causes random dottage, should I call it. So, and I like the fact that it's got silicone on the bottom because that'll act almost as a buffer to lift stuff off. And if you can look, I've just pressed that onto the label sheet and see what that does to the label. So I'm just going to put that in there and give that one little press there. Okay, we're kind of getting there. Now all I've done is I've got a bit of foil, just your normal baking foil, scrunched it up, and then I've come in, I'm going to press that gently down and pull it away. And what it does is it gives this nice almost paint crackle effect, just to give you a little bit of interest in the background. I'm thinking I want to actually maybe do a different background with this one. I was going to put this on the green, but I'm kind of liking where this is going. So there you go. So I've got that happening in the background. I think, you know, I said I had the background ones. I know I have this one here, and I think I want to do just a really light pull of this before I put this onto the green background. So I'm laying it down, and I'm gently, like really feather-like touch over the top of there, and I just want to pull away part of that. Okay, you see now what's happening here is we've got the more dense colour which is going over the lighter colour, which then blocks it out. So just beware, but that gives you an idea of what you get, but that's what I was looking for, what is left on there. Now I'm hoping, although we are talking, that I'm going to be able to pull off some of this detail on here now and transfer it to the main sheet, the main 12 by 12, because I didn't want all that detail on this one. I just wanted to capture maybe some edges, maybe the odd line, stuff like that. So let's pull that off. There you go. So see, I've caught some of it in here, and that's what I wanted. I wanted subtlety. I think, as you may have heard me say in one of my last videos, subtlety is a really hard thing to get when you're actually working in jelly plate printing. So I've got this one here. Now what I want to do with this one is I think I want to capture this, but to do that I want to do something that's lighter. So, oh, did I shake this? I don't know that I shook this. So I'm going to use a bit of pale pink. Doesn't look that pale actually. I might have to add a little bit of white to this just to make sure we've got a thin enough coat. Just a touch of white. I'm pulling this one in again just so I've got one that I can lift away with should I need to. Because if I put this on and I do a first pull from here and not a ghost pull, a ghost print, what I'm going to have is it's just going to cover over all of the background I've already got. And what I'm trying to get is more of a vignette, I think the word is, the outside edge of the detail. So I don't mind losing a bit of the blue on the cleanup sheet, because it is, as we've said, a cleanup sheet. It's not meant to be anything other than a cleanup sheet. It could turn into something eventually. So just going to pull bits of this off. Right. Now I'm going to come in and actually I want to just get rid of that line there. Right, I think that's going to be okay. Maybe I just drop that in the middle again just to pull out bits of that. That's more interesting to me. Right, let's put this one over the top, lay it down, and because I'm trying to get the stuff underneath, I need to give it a little bit more pressure than I would normally, and I'm focusing on the edges because that's where I want that detail to come into it. And the thin layer of paint on top should lift up all of the dried paint underneath. So I'm really hoping what it's done. And it's done it perfectly. So this is what I meant by I wanted to capture almost like a vignette in the background. Okay, so that's that one on the go. Right. I'm going to start work on this one now. Now, what I want to do with that one, I mean, the cleanup sheet will be the cleanup sheet will be the cleanup sheet, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to now do the paint on here and add it to here. And then we're going to do a pull from here. Okay, so hopefully that's not lost anybody along the way. Looking at this, I think I either want to go with the red, which maybe I don't want to go with the red. I might want to go with like a maroony colour. That might be an okay colour, right. So this is just purple, and I know it's a purple, a solid purple, because this is one of the ones I bought the other day. So I've probably got a little bit much on there, but I do have my label sheets I can go on to. Actually, no, I don't have too much on there, that's fine. So we're going to be looking at things that I take the detail from here and place it onto there. That's just a bit of a swipe on my label sheet. So now I'm going to come in, right, I've got this, and this is another bit of that plastic doily type stuff. I normally find those for me here in this country, they're normally in like the bargain stores that I find those in. So I'm just going to pull that off there and hopefully transfer that to here. As it's a plastic based thing, it should transfer nicely, and I do have it there. And I think I want it in one other place on here. And if you're worried about getting dirty hands, you will get dirty hands. You can wear gloves. I don't wear them for this, but you can do. Just be aware. I mean, I wear latex-free gloves because my skin reacts to latex. So the dust that's in the latex gloves, just be aware. Oh, and look at that. Okay, I've just stamped that onto the labels, and that's given me a nice bit of interest on there. So let's put that one down to one side. What else do we want to do? Let's do a couple of the squares again. Squares, what am I talking about? The rectangles. Now, I'm trying to be a little more careful with where I place stuff on here, because it's my intention that this layer goes over the top of that. So that's why I'm probably being a little more cautious than you're used to me being seen. I like the effect of this, so I'm going to put a little bit of this where I put the squares. And I am talking a little bit, I'm not talking a huge amount, because I don't want this to be so busy to the eye that it just is too distracting, really. Okay, my sister plays bingo. And this is an old bingo dobber. I think, are they called bingo dobbers? I don't know, I've never played bingo. Or have I? No, I haven't played bingo. It's the dabber. I think it's called a dabber. It's an old one. However, when I saw this lid, I fancied that this would give me like almost little daisy shapes. So I'm just trying this one out. I've not tried this one before. So we'll see. It could end up just putting really annoying little dots on here, but I've got a feeling we're going to end up with little almost flower shapes. I'll just wipe that off so I don't block it up for next time. What else can I put on this page? Or is there enough? No, actually, I think I do want to add something else to it. Right, in one of my previous videos, you saw me use wallpaper. So I'm going to take a piece of the wallpaper and see whether I can take from here and put onto there some sort of imprint of what's on the wallpaper. I'm not sure it's going to work. This is purely experimentation time with you guys, because that's what we're doing. We're having a play. Okay, yes, I do get something on there. Okay, that's good to know for the future. I do have more wallpaper pulled out today, purely for us to play with, so we'll work on that in a bit. Okay, I'm just curious. I'm going to take a piece of this and stamp it onto one of the label sheets and see what we're actually getting when we stamp it off. Okay, we're getting something like that, which is interesting. It's visual texture. So there you go, that's that one done. Now, I could come in and pull that. Let's try that. I'm not sure it's going to lift everything off, but are we bothered that it lifts everything off? No, we're looking for little bits of interesting detail in the background, because we're still in the background. Oh, wow, okay, we did do it quick enough. So there you go. So that'll show you I've just added all of that to that. And I actually quite like that. That's an interesting background there. I've got the muted one here, should we call it. I'm going to come in, and I think I've got enough on my plate here to give this a thin coat and maybe be able to pull something off this. I'm not sure whether I've got enough on here, guys, but I don't think I do actually. I think I'm going to get nothing, but I'm willing to have a go, because I can still see a fine layer of stuff on this mat. I hope you're enjoying this, by the way. I do this, well, I've done quite a few now, and I'm not sure. I mean, you seem to be enjoying them, but I'm like, I wouldn't ever want this to become boring. And you can, guys, suggest things for me to do. I'm quite open to that. Okay, that certainly wasn't what I expected. But there you go. So I've got another pull off that, and that's a really good ghost print on that. So that gives me some visual texture. Right. I think I just need to have a bit of a clean up of my brayer and my smaller piece. And I need to look at which ones have we done so far. Right, so that one, happy with the way that's looking. This is almost a duplicate of that one, but in different colours. This one's really subtle. This one, I don't think we really touched that much. We just put a little bit on, and I'm quite liking that one. So I now need to start again with a different textural element. So let's have a look at my table and see what else I have on the go. Okay. Something I like to do, and I've done some fresh ones here for you, is I take wine bottle corks and I just cut into them. Like that could represent a Phillips screwdriver. That could be an old-fashioned screwdriver. That's just a something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these. Maybe I just need a dark brown. Let's just do a dark brown. And again, I'm going to do the stamp from here to here. So I don't need a massive amount. I just need a bit. Just get that on there, and all I'm doing is literally lifting it off here and stamping it onto there. And what this will do, it's just another, it's almost like stamping but without a stamp pad. So I'm going to put some form of design up in that corner, coming down, just playing, just to put an element onto something else. Right, I've done enough of that one. Let's put that cork back. Let's pull in, this is the one I call the Phillips screwdriver. So if you were someone who's trying to create something that's maybe more of a male background, or you've got a woodworker or a mechanic you're doing a background for, or even a steampunky idea, this is something you could do. It depends on how clever you are with a craft knife and how tough the cork is you're cutting. You can get some really nice effects. Now this one, I'm going to do a few pieces of this, but I'm just going to do them in the opposite corner because they're just a random design and I just fancy putting them on there. Okay, that's enough of those. Right, so I've got that on there. Now, we don't need to stay with the same colour. Okay, so I'm going to take this off my brayer. I'm going to take this off my plate, because we're working as if it's almost a one pull piece, which I don't think it is going to be a one pull piece, but we will do those in the future where basically you build your design on the jelly plate, you let it dry out totally, and then you do a thin layer of another one and actually pull the whole thing off. So right, which one are we thinking for this one that will be a good idea? Actually, why don't we look at this one? So this could go onto here. So if I've got this colour and this colour, maybe... So I'm tapping again, aren't I? I do apologise. I have a tendency to do that while I'm thinking. Right, let's try some gold on here. And while we're doing gold... Actually, I know. Right, I haven't used this before. I went through my kitchen cupboards, and this is an old wrought iron trivet for saucepans, you know, so it doesn't melt your counter. This must have been in our cupboard at the back for about 20 odd years. So if it fits, it does fit on there. I'm going to use this to lift paint from there to there. Okay, never done this one before. It does make me think that, not think, it does remind me to tell you though, when you're in the stores, like the pound stores, dollar stores, whichever store you're in, make sure you go down the kitchen aisle, because very often you'll find silicone mats or oven gloves or roll-out boards or stuff like that. Even look at the cake decorating aisle if you have one, because those things are absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm not expecting a perfect anything, because this is obviously handmade and I can't even guarantee whether it's level or uniform or what it's going to do. But I'm kind of loving that. Okay, this was a good find. This will now be in my jelly drawer. So I'm going to do one going one way and one going the other way. Yeah, that one's not perfectly straight, but you know what? The world's not perfectly straight at the moment. I'm loving that. I wonder whether I can just embellish it slightly with a smaller one there. Okay, and I'm very, very happy with that. So, right, where's my cloth gone? So I mean, I could rub this off on something. I like the effect of that now. But I'm going to put that to one side. I think we're getting to the point where I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, we've done enough. And I think I'm going to put this to the back. I've got all of this on here. I'm just going to pull in this piece here. And I'm going to do just some gold stuff across while that's drying, because it needs to dry before I get it onto the background. So I've got some bigger bubble wrap here, and I'm going to come in and just press that down, lift that off and pop it on here, because I feel that the green and the gold will work really well. And I'm not wrong, they look like pasta. They look like gnocchi. That's what that reminds me of. Sorry any Italians out there, but I've absolutely pronounced that really wrongly, but that's just, I'm sorry, that's just the way I am. So, right, so I've got some gold on there. Okay, this was an interesting thing. I went through my button box, and I think most of us have a button box. And I found all of these buttons. Now, what I would say is always try and get buttons you can hold from behind. And actually thinking about it, I might do some of those on here. I've got a bit of a cork goober. So just going to come in and lift stuff off here and see I've got these interesting little patterns that are transferred from the buttons. I think we'll leave those there because I think we're going to be using these again. I'm liking this. Well, there's even a flower one. I wonder whether the flower one actually turns into a flower when I print it. It does. Sorry, it doesn't take much to amuse me. Right, I think that's enough on that one. Let's pull in another one that I've got on the go. This one might do with some gold on it, without going overboard on the gold. Okay, they print better, obviously, onto a jelly plate because it concaves. It sinks in. So I need to do things that go flat to flat on here. Another thing that I sometimes do is I'll grab bits of corrugated card, just tear them off my packaging, lift and rub it on. Now you're going to find the first few times you do it, there isn't going to be a lot on there because the card is actually absorbent. But after you use the same piece of card, and I'll probably keep the card for a long time, you're going to find that it's going to build up a coating on here, which means it won't absorb anymore. Right, you probably on the screen cannot see that, but I wonder if I tip it slightly, yeah, you can just see it there. It does catch the light. It's an interesting thing to do. Right, I think I'm going to add a little bit of paint to that will just change the character of it a bit. Let's put a little bit of peony in here. Or magenta, sorry, not peony. Well, to me, magenta is peony, so that's just my input on that one. So right, I've made a sort of pinkish brownish gold colour. So I'm also going to pull in, you've seen me use this before, I like using this. This is sticky mat that I pick up to stop my cakes moving around in their boxes. And I'm just going to put the odd bit of that on there, just to give it a little bit of interest. I think that's enough on that one, or else that's going to get confusing. Where's the other one I was looking for? This one could do with a little bit of this on there as well. See, you can't really work on just one at a time, I'm finding. When I work with jelly plates, I've got them on the go all over the place. I mean, as you've seen my video of what's in my jelly print drawer, I've got a bed sheet. And yes, the bed sheet is behind me on the floor. And everything is getting thrown onto the bed sheet so it doesn't damage my carpet. But it does mean that I try to limit myself as to how many of these I do when I'm on video with you guys. However, when I'm really doing this, I'm actually doing 20 or 30 at a time. Right, I've got that on that plate. And I've got this, which is one from a previous thing. This was a cleanup accident that I absolutely love. So I'm going to use that to pull that design off there, which cleans my mat and puts that on there, which I really quite like. This is turning into one of my favourites, to be honest with you. Right, let's pull this one back in. I'm not sure whether it's fully... almost dry. You have to wait for things to dry, which is, I'm really bad at waiting for things to dry. So let's put that one back up there. Right. This one obviously needs some white on it to me. It needs something to pull it back to the fore. And I've kind of got an idea of what I want to do on it. So I'm going to use white on here. Get my brayer clean as I can, or cleaner should we say. And I'm just going to come in with some white. Yeah, when you start doing stuff like this, guys, you will find it's a bit bizarre, but every time you go shopping or every time you go to throw something out, you will actually look at the bottom of it and go, oh, could I use that? Or can I use that? You'll do it. I promise you, you will do it. Right, I've just got a bit of lace here, and I wanted to see whether I can just lift the lace pattern from here and put it across. Now, I don't know whether this is going to work because obviously the lace is absorbent, but I'm willing to give it a go. It gives me something. It's not hugely interesting. I wonder whether I get a better result if I roll it over the top of it on the piece of paper and almost stencil through it. Well, let's give that a go. Right, I'm going to take the paint off here. Hopefully you can see me. And I'm going to try and roll through this. I'm not sure this is going to work. Oh, yeah, kind of. I can't say it's earth-shatteringly, stunningly beautiful, but it's something. I hadn't done that one before. You've got to give it a bit of welly. Well, you've got to press down quite hard, and I know I'm probably not going to get a perfect anything because it's all moving around, and I got nothing whatsoever on that one. So I think my best option is these plastic ones, because I think those take off the paint so much better. Give that a bit of a roll and see if this works. I've got a feeling this paint is drying out on this smaller mat. Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but this is almost totally dried out. But I do like what it's left behind there. So you know what? There's more than one way, I tell you. Let's lift that off there. It's given me something there. And let's try a little bit along there as well. This is what this jelly plate play is all about, guys. It's never going to be a tutorial. It's going to be me just having a go, trying some new things, and seeing where it goes. I mean, that's completely the reason I'm doing this. And I'm only doing it as a video because basically I put out on my channel, would anyone like to see it? And the answer was a resounding yes, they'd love to see it. So what I did was I just started doing this purely to share the experience, because sometimes you may not be brave enough to have a go. And I fully understand that one. Goodness knows, I'm a bit nervous of having a go myself sometimes with all of you watching. But sometimes you're just not brave enough to have a go, and I'm fool enough to have a go, let's put it that way. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of this yellow on here with a little bit of, I want to say I might have used that colour. Yeah, on there, because I don't want to white out the background totally. But oh, I mustn't have used that one because it's running. Let's clean that off there. What did I use? Did I use this one maybe? Maybe I use that. I want a really thin coat so I don't obliterate all of that lovely detail we've got on there. But I do need to have a thin layer of something on here to actually be able to lift all of this off. And as I've said in previous videos, sorry, I'm sick of saying I said in previous videos, but I've said it before. The reason I like jelly printing is because I can't control it. You absolutely get what you get. And I find that incredibly exciting, especially as I am OCD and ever so slightly controlling. And it's nice that I can just relax and go, you know, it is what it is. It absolutely is what it is. Either it works or it doesn't work. Hopefully I'm not shaking that camera. It's not my intention to. Right, I give this a reasonably good burnish down to make sure it's fully adhered. The thin coating of wet paint should then pull up the thicker coating of the one underneath. Well, that's my intent anyway, and I think it's pretty much done it. Okay, yes, I am liking that one. I think I would be a fool if I tried to add anything more to that. That's lovely. I'm going to put that to one side and call that one done, guys. Okay, let's go to this one now. Now, I like that, but it needs something. I think it needs to be pulled back to lightness slightly. And do I want to put, I'm thinking little circles or dots. And am I saying that because I found this in a thrift store a long time ago, and obviously I've never used it. I would say it's probably, I'm guessing Lego. It's not marked Lego, but it's obviously a brick building thingy. So I think I'm going to try and get an impression of this onto there with white. This may work, it may not work. I don't know at this point. So there you go. Yes, I am having loads of comments off you, and I'm loving that. Thank you for all of the advice and the hints and tips you're giving me. As I said earlier on in this video, if you think of something and go, oh, Ceri, can you try this? Ceri, can you try that? I am more than willing to try anything, as long as I've got access to it in the first place. Okay, so if you want me to try something like, that's the wrong one, isn't it? If you want me to try something that I haven't got access to, I'm going to have to say no. If you want me to try something that is a vastly expensive new bit of equipment on the market, the answer is probably no, unless I fancy buying it myself, because I'm not going to spend any more than I normally spend. Right, so coming in, and I'm lifting this off there. Let's see if I can get any impression on here. I'm slightly nervous because I'm pressing onto a hard surface, so I'm not sure what I'm going to get. Okay, I don't mind that. That's cool. Okay, I might do some of that on this green one, because this green one's beginning to need something now. So, sorry if you see my elbow, my shoulder, my arm, or my ear, or whatever you're seeing. Yeah, that's a pleasant surprise. That's something in the background. I think I'm going to turn it over and try and capture some of these. I'm just going to come in and lift those. Oh, okay, I'm liking that bit. I knew there was a reason I reached for this when I bought it. It was like, it was in a, what I call it a charity shop. I think you call it a thrift store. You may call it a Goodwill store, and believe me, it was in the bargain bin in there, because obviously no one wanted it. And I want to say it was so inexpensive, it was almost free. So I'm loving where this is going. Okay, I think we've done enough of that one. It's overkill on that otherwise. So I've done that with it. I've got some fine detail on there, fine detail on there. What are the ones I've got left? I've got this one, which I'm a little not happy with at the moment, but that can be changed, obviously. I've got this all over my mat, which I can't imagine I would want to lift that as an anything, to be honest with you. So we're just going to roll that across, and I've kind of got an idea. As basically this is a print that I'm going to call it a throwaway because I'm just going to test it out. I might put it onto one of the ones that I've done that are the cleanup ones, and that is I've got another one of these wallpaper samples. So I cut this about the right size for a 12 by 12. I'm going to press it down, and if I remember right from doing this in the past video, the trick is to press it down lightly and not press it hard, because if I press it hard it moves around. So I'm trying to get that down there. Just using this part of my thumb gently along the edges, just so that I've got it all in contact. There doesn't feel like there's any air bubbles under there. So I'm hoping it lifts the pattern but leaves the outlines. And it's done exactly that. I love that. That's fabulous. Note to self, press a little bit harder into those spaces. Okay, I've got that on my mat. Right, I need to look at what I want to put it onto. You know what, I don't mind if I put it onto there, because remember I said the darker colours would come through the lighter ones, and those are lighter colours. Let's just have a go. Let's have an experiment on this one, shall we? Right, and this is a clean-up one from a previous video, or one that didn't make the grade on the previous video. So the paint was thin. It's been drying, so let's see how much I can lift off, and if there's some left behind, I'm quite happy about that because it'll give me extra detail to add to another one. And if I remember by the feel of this paper, this was a 12 by 12 that we tickled up at some point. Okay, now I'm liking that. I think that doesn't need a lot to make it actually really interesting. So right, I think we've rescued one of the I don't know what to do with ones. This is literally just a clean-up one. I'm going to lay it over the top and see if there's anything else that can be pulled up. I doubt there's a whole heck of a lot, but this one is beginning to be a really grungy page. Yeah, it didn't pull up very much at all. Right, let's put the clean-up ones back down on the floor so I can focus on the other. I really like that. That was very good. I'm impressed with that, guys. That really pleases me. I'm wondering what that would look like in black. I'm trying to look at these and see which ones of these would that look phenomenal in black with. I don't feel it's this one. Let's put it this way. Black on that would be really dramatic. I think there's too much on there already. Oh, that's obviously the one we're looking at. Maybe black on there. Let's be brave. Let's do the brave thing. There may actually be some white left on here that transfer across anyway. So where's the black gone? Now, note to self: you don't need a lot of paint, Griffiths. So, because that worked really well with a really thin coating of paint. So I do need complete coverage though. Now, as I said all the time, I'm not pressing hard, guys. I'm letting the brayer almost spin, and that's probably why I like the speedball brayers, because they do spin. Right, so that's a really nice fine coat on there. Let's clean the brayer off so that I don't have issues any other time. Let's take this again and see if I can kind of line it up where it was before, and gently working the edges. This is exciting. As I said, I saw that New Zealand artist. I need to remember how to say her name. I think it's called Frayle Art, F-R-A-Y-L-E. I think that's That's her name. I need to remember to link her into one of these videos. Maybe I'll try and remember to do it on this one. I'm notorious, unless I write stuff down, guys, it doesn't happen. So, right, and we decided that we needed to rub a little more in those sections to pull out a little bit more. So I'm just using my fingertips this time, just to work it. I don't know whether you can see, no, I don't think you can, but you can sort of see the indentations, the pattern. So I'm just doing that. Let's pull this one up. Now, because it's black, we can see it there, but I'm not sure what it's going to end up like. So I'm going to try and come in and do a pull straight away, because I don't want to have to add any more paint to this background, because that'll just mute down what we've already done. I'm hoping that the bits of gold we did actually show through. So while I'm doing this, what else are we going to do? I'm going to try at some point, I need to find some really interesting leaves. So I need to go to my local park and hope no one arrests me for snipping leaves off trees. And I want to do like a jelly print version of eco printing, which I've done in the past, but I can't show you any samples because I've used them in journals, which is a lovely technique. Also, there's a way of transferring images from magazines to paper as well, so I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a technique I've done before as well. Oh, I'm loving this. You haven't seen it yet, have you? So, okay, that's cool. I'm leaving that one as it is. Yeah, I think I'd be a fool if I tried to go in and add anything to that. I think we can call the wallpaper system a really good success. So that's another one that's going to stay. I've lost where I put the one that's keeping. Oh, okay, right. Let me have a quick look. There doesn't look like there's anything on the plate, so I'm going to forget the plate and just work on something else. Okay, where are we up to? I'm looking at this one thinking, do I need to add anything to it? I think it needs something. I don't want it to be a huge something, but I do think it needs something. And I think I'd quite like to go for a darker colour of this. Now, you know I use this colour all of the time. Oh, it's not that colour at all. I don't use that one all the time. So it's one of these colours. It's probably better look at them that way, actually. I think it's going to be this one. And I've got a feeling I just want to put some corrugated cardboard lines in this. I thought I had it. Oh, okay. I've got this one. Now, I learnt this trick from Gaila Costinelli. She uses this sometimes on backs of pages, and she'll rub an ink pad on it and then turn it over and put lines onto plain paper. And that way she's got writing lines for people to journal on. Very clever technique, but I use this for jelly printing as well. So I want to get some on here. Now, the thing that's going to drive me nuts is if I don't get the lines parallel. So what I'm going to do, or straight is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to just do the middle of it, and then I'm going to line it up with the edge and see if I can pull some of that across. That's kind of what I was looking for. Just a little bit of something, just to give it a touch of interest. I wonder if I try and do a grid with it. That's actually more interesting. Right, okay, so I've done the wrong way. And I've got paint all over my hands. Right, let's just do a bit over here. Okay, I think we're calling that one done, guys. That's a happy place. I'm okay with that. Oops, and there's the timer. Right, okay, so we're not far off finished anyway, so that's that one. That's number 3. I've lost track of which are my cleanup sheets and which are not my cleanup sheets. So I'm going to take this one I like, and I'm going to take patches of this teal, because that could almost be like rusty paint or copper erosion or something, that colour. And as you can see, it's just really, I like that colour on stuff. So especially if I'm doing something that's metallic, see, that just brings that to life. So just pull a little bit of that off there. So okay, this was the cleanup one, remember. So or yeah, clean up from a previous video. So let's put that one back. Right, so we only have 2 left to look at. No, we have 3 left to look at. Sorry, we may be overrunning. Right, I think this one, because I've done the cleanup ones, I think I'm going to put this in the pile of we need to work on it next time, because I think that needs a bit more of a rescue than I can do in the last few minutes of this video. This one I quite liked, but I'd like to put on here maybe some circles or something, or dots. Actually, I know what, we'll do these. Okay, I took rolls of paper, just offcuts, and I cut them into strips, and then I just wound them up tightly, then let them relax a bit and put a bit of tape around them. And I think that's what I want to do on here. So I think I'm going to come in again with some black. Where have I put the black? I put the black over there. And I think, because this one's so close, it doesn't need a lot. It just needs a something. Right, just got that on there. And I'm literally going to come in and, I'd like to say stamp it. It doesn't seem to want to stamp. Oh yes, it does, just stamping the outside. Oh, there you go. I needed to build up a little bit in the coil first. Just a little something just to pull that together. And I'm going to change to the other one. So I've got a different pattern and a different size. So you see, it's just little somethings that come across. And I call this mark making, which I'm sure is what it's almost, I will say universally known as, but I would say this is mark making to most people. Right, once I've done that, let's just wipe those off a bit so I don't stick them all over the place. I'm going to come in with a basic ruler, okay, and I'm going to put the ruler through the paint, and I'm just going to put lines on here. I'm trying not to be horizontal vertical either. I'm trying to put just a little bit of interest on here, just because who knows what I'm going to use this for. I don't know myself. I'm quietly hoping that the glitch in my video, my glitch in my YouTube, hasn't resulted in a glitch in my video, because I'm going to be very upset if that's happened. But I will do my best to try and edit it in such a way that you're not disturbed by watching it. So, right, okay, so I think we're going to call that one done. This is the only one that's left to do. And I'm unsure at the moment what I wanted. Actually, I wonder, how much black have I got on here? I've got an idea, because I've got a section of another piece of wallpaper that was just like a fern frond. I can't say the word. I've got this piece, and I'm wondering whether I can just do the same effect with this one. Seems to be moving around a bit on me, and that's my fault, it's not its fault. Let's see what we can pull up from here. Okay, so I've got stuff in the background. What I do want, however, is just to almost blend away the edges so that it's not so much. I mean, it's going to be a square, but it's not going to be a huge square. I'm just going to try and pull that off there and see what we get. This may work, this may not work, guys. As I said, experimentation is the name of the game here. Actually, I didn't get much of it, but I did make it slightly grungy. Let's think. I don't mind if I put in... Actually, you know what? Let's do this. This is just a bundle of earbuds. And I don't mean the musical earbuds. I mean for cleaning your ears. I mean, we call them Cottmore buds. Some people call them Johnson's baby buds. Whatever you call it. Just put together with a bit of sellotape. I was looking for an elastic band, and would you believe I couldn't find one? So I'm just dabbing them in. I've actually seen people use this technique with colours to do flowers. So it's a technique I've seen other people do. So this is, in fact, I'd probably say everything I've done in this video is certainly I don't think it's my idea at all. I mean, maybe carving the corks is an idea that's mine, because I haven't seen that done, but I can't believe it's not been done somewhere. Okay, so that's added that to that. I do want to put just the odd bit of white on this page as circles, so I'm just going to brayer that off there. So I'm not going to clean that off, I'm literally going to throw this on there, because I want to finish this and then we are done. Oh, that's a lot more paint than I expected to put down. Right, so I'm just here, this is the inside of a cash register roll, just to put a few on here. Now, I don't normally doodle on my, in fact I probably don't normally doodle on my jelly print pieces, but I know people like Gail and other people do, and I think at some point I might give it a go, but it's not something that I've done up to now. Right, that's enough. Know when to stop, Griffiths. So I think we're done. Let's put that to one side. It'll have to be the last one because it's wet. Let's look at what we've done today. Right, this was the cleanup sheet from a previous one, which I absolutely love now, and that's definitely staying. That's a good one. This is the one we did with, it was almost a cleanup sheet of a previous one. It was a ghost print, and we put black onto it. We've got the wallpaper one, which I'm absolutely loving that. I'll be doing that technique on many occasions. I think if I did a mottled coloured background, that would actually look really nice as well. This was the black on the green version, which I equally love. And then we've got this one, which was a start to finish, and I was using the trivet when I did that. So that was fabulous, and I really enjoyed that. We probably overrun slightly, but probably not by much. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.